Good afternoon. I'm Sean Yao and this is One News Now. Metro Manila and 38 other areas will be shifting to Alert Level 1 starting tomorrow. Let's get the details from Maricel Halili, who is reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. Hi, Mase. Good afternoon. First off, what criteria did the government follow in putting these areas under the so-called new normal or Alert Level 1?
Hi, Sean. Well, as explained by Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire, they actually considered the matrix drafted by the Interagency Task Force. This includes number one, the average daily attack rate, and then the healthcare utilization rate. The level of these matrix must be at a low risk or very low risk, so either of the two. And aside from that, they also included the vaccination rate. For example, here in NCR, the vaccination rate must reach at least 80% of the target population, particularly those who belong in the category A2 or senior citizen. They must at least reach 80% of the senior citizen population.
All right, Mase, can you talk us through the major changes in restrictions, at least from what we feel here on the ground? What stays the same and what is the biggest change that we can expect?
Well, first and foremost, Sean, wearing a face mask is still mandatory anytime, anywhere, whether we're in an alfresco venue or indoor venue, we must wear face mask at all times, except, of course, if we're in a dining and we have to eat, that's an exemption. Number two, one of the significant changes is that commercial establishments are now allowed to accommodate full seating capacity. So they can accommodate 100% of their venue capacity, provided that all the customers are fully vaccinated. Even public transportation can now accommodate 100% of the seating capacity. But of course, there are exemptions. For example, for interzonal travel. If there's an interzonal travel, for example, a public bus, they will not follow the full capacity policy for public transportation. They have to follow the policy that is being implemented to more or a much higher alert level being implemented in a certain place or destination. So, for example, from alert level 1, or if a public bus will come from NCR, which is under alert level 2, and they have to travel to an area or province which is under alert level 2, they have to follow the policy being implemented in alert level 2, not in alert level 1.
All right, so always sticking to the stricter alert level in those cases. Now, Mase, what will happen to the number coding scheme? You mentioned public transportation capacity will be back at 100%. Will there be any changes to the current number coding scheme as well, which as it stands is only from 5 to 8 p.m.?
So far, Sean, according to MMDA General Manager Artes, there won't be any changes when it comes to the policy or imposition of number coding scheme. It will still be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. from Monday to Friday. But there's still an ongoing talk among the officials of MMDA, Metro Manila mayors, if there's a need to also impose number coding scheme from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. during weekdays, because they can see that we have a more difficult situation when it comes to traffic during those peak hours. But as to when they will implement it, they still have to make a decision, because they do not want to implement it tomorrow in time for the implementation of Alert Level 1. They still have to make an assessment of the situation.
All right, Mase, it is, like you said, March 1 tomorrow. It's going to be Alert Level 1 in most places in the Philippines. What are the expectations of the government, at least in terms of economic revenue? Are they expecting, a slow recovery of the economy starting tomorrow?
Well, Secretary Nograles mentioned that Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Carl Chua will discuss the impact of the imposition of Alert Level 1 to our economy on the Talk to the People later tonight. But then, all he can say is that for now, they know that about 9.4 billion pesos additional for the economic activity, weekly economic activity is expected, and they are also expecting about 170,000 workers who can come back to work once the Alert Level 1 will be implemented.
All right, and it is already March tomorrow, and the May elections are drawing even nearer. Mase, how are authorities and the COMELEC preparing for the upcoming polls?
That is one of the concerns of the medical experts, including the Octa Research Group, Sean. But Secretary Nograles said these concerns is also one of the reasons why they are still implementing the mandatory wearing of face mask. And the discussion and assessment by the COMELEC is still ongoing. So Malacanang hopes that before the election day arrives, they can give more concrete and they can finalize probably more effective guidelines for the campaign and election day itself.
All right, thank you so much for all those updates. Maricel Halili reporting to us live from Mandaluyong City. Thank you, Mase. Meanwhile, some local officials are appealing to the IATF to reconsider the easing of restrictions tomorrow. The League of Provinces of the Philippines says some LGUs are simply not ready. Camille Samonte tells us why.
The League of Provinces of the Philippines is appealing to the IATF to consult the local chief executives before downgrading LGUs to Alert Level 1. Marinduque Governor Presby Velasco Jr. said provinces are still not ready to ease the restrictions due to low vaccination rate.
Kailangan i-consulta yung mga governors kung anong yung gusto nila. Kasi mas alam nila yung nangyayari sa probinsya nila eh. Pag maayos na yung kanilang vaccination nila ng A2, A3, at saka yung A5, pwede na mag-alert level 1, diba? Kasi may herd immunity.
Velasco noted that the data on case transmission, ICU admission, and hospital care utilization are not accurate due to unreported cases. With this, local chief executives are more aware of the existing situation regarding the COVID-19 situation in their areas. Velasco also expressed concern over the inadequate COVID beds in many provincial hospitals.
Yung mga ibang mga TPMF at mga COVID rooms ng mga LGUs na iba, kulang pa yun. Yung iba under construction. So, paano tayo makakapagsabi kung biglang mag-search? Diba? Kung magle-level 1 bigla. Delikado.
The LPP will submit their formal position to the IATF on the matter. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
In the Ukraine, fighting continues for a fifth straight day. Satellite images show that a large deployment of Russian military forces moving towards Ukraine's capital city of Kyiv. The photos show hundreds of military vehicles extending over 5 kilometers northeast of the city of Ivankiv. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that Russia has agreed to talks near the country's border with Belarus. However, Zelensky said he is not expecting that the talks will succeed. The Ukrainian president said that he just wants his people to know that he is open to doing anything in order to stop the war. The Foreign Affairs Department reports that 6 Filipinos who fled the Ukraine have arrived in Moldova. DFA Undersecretary Sara Lu Ariola said that aside from these evacuees, 13 other Filipinos have been evacuated to Poland and could return to the Philippines once they test negative for COVID-19. The department says they are still waiting for word from other OFWs that are staying in Ukraine.
that there are 33 people na nandun sila ngayon sa Lviv, ayaw nila magpa-repatriate. They just want to wait it out and wait and see. So what we're trying to do is to be in constant contact with the Filipinos who choose to stay and at least know where they are.
Let's take a quick look at today's other top stories. The MWSS will penalize Maynilad over the prolonged water interruptions in Cavite and the southern part of Metro Manila. The regulatory office says that affected customers will receive rebates starting April. Oil prices are expected to go up for the 9th straight week as global tensions worsen. Diesel prices could climb by 80 to 90 centavos per liter, while a 90 centavo to 1 peso per liter increase is in the pipeline for gasoline. And in sports, Gilas Pilipinas ends the first window of the FIBA World Cup Asian qualifiers with a loss to New Zealand, 88 to 63. Gilas finishes the window with a 1-1 record in Group A after South Korea begged off from the tournament. The next window of the first round is expected to take place come June. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.